Okay, so you've got these massive brands, right? There's this super critical role that sits right at the crossroads of pure creativity and actually getting things done. We're talking about the creative operations leader. But what does it really take to be great at that job? Well, we're going to break it down by taking a look at the career of one pro who's been in the trenches, Craig Moore.
Bridging creative vision with operational efficiency. That one line, it really nails the core challenge, doesn't it? It's like this constant tug of war. On one side, you've got this amazing blue sky creative vision. But on the other, you have the cold, hard reality of budgets, deadlines, and processes. The real magic, the real value, comes from the person who can wrangle both. And honestly, that's the biggest hurdle for any brand that's trying to grow.
So, who's the person making this happen? Who connects these two very different worlds? Let's dive in and find out.
All right, first up, let's get a handle on the kind of expertise we're talking about here. And to make it real, we're going to use the profile of Craig Moore, a marketing project manager and creative ops leader, to see what this stuff actually looks like out in the wild.
Okay, the first thing that jumps out at you, 15 plus years of experience. And look, that's not just punching a clock. That's 15 years navigating the super high-stakes, high-pressure world of Fortune 100 creative departments. This is someone who has, pretty much seen it all.
So these 5 areas, think of them as the essential toolkit for any top-tier creative ops leader. You've got your project management, of course, then digital asset management, people call it DAM for short, workflow optimization, which is huge, leading all sorts of different teams, and finally, brand strategy. But here's the key. They aren't just a list of separate skills. They all work together. They all feed into each other to make that whole creative engine just run.
Let's kick things off with that first pillar, being a master of complex projects. I mean, this is really the art of taking some fleeting, brilliant idea and wrestling it all the way to a polished final product, one that hits every single deadline and goal along the way. Great creative work, it doesn't just happen by magic. It follows a really structured life cycle, just like this. And no, this isn't about killing creativity with a bunch of rules. It's about building a clear, predictable path from a raw idea to the final thing you deliver. It's about making sure everyone is talking to each other at every single step. It's really the difference between just managing chaos and actually mastering the process. And to actually pull that off, to execute that whole life cycle, it takes a pretty special mix of skills. Yeah, it's about planning and figuring out who does what. But it's also about something a little more intuitive. It's about seeing problems coming, anticipating those hurdles before they turn into total disasters. It means you have to be a proactive problem solver, someone who can run these huge 360-degree campaigns while juggling the needs of your internal teams, your clients, and all the third-party vendors. That whole project management piece flows right into our next big topic, being the guardian of a brand's digital assets. And think about it. For a massive global company, all those images, videos, logos, that's the brand's lifeblood. And it absolutely needs to be protected. So what exactly is digital asset management, or DAM? Well, it's basically the system for keeping everything organized, storing it, and getting it to the right people. All of a company's creative stuff. It's kind of like the central nervous system for a brand's entire visual identity. And trust me, if you don't have a solid DAM strategy, you just get chaos, inconsistency, and you waste a ton of time and money. And this isn't some abstract, theoretical problem. This quote right here, from his time at Apple, it really shows you the sheer scale of it all. We're talking about managing just a massive volume of creative assets through every single part of the process, from getting it in the door to reviewing it, approving it, and finally archiving it. And at a company like Apple, that pipeline is always running. So day-to-day at Apple, what did that look like? Well, it meant making sure all the promo art followed super strict design rules. It meant personally reviewing assets to make sure they hit Apple's ridiculously high standards. And it meant constantly coordinating with developers and other teams just to keep that fire hose of creative work flowing smoothly. All this talk about coordinating with teams, it leads us right to the next crucial skill: leadership. A creative ops leader just can't work in a bubble. They have to be the central hub, the person connecting all these different teams, and all those teams have their own way of talking, their own goals, their own priorities.
And here's the thing that really separates a true leader from just a manager. It's not enough to just have a plan. You have to get everyone else to believe in that plan. Being able to take complicated info, make it persuasive, and get everyone on the same page, that's what moves big projects forward. And the sheer scope of that collaboration is just immense. You're working with the interactive and design folks, brand and marketing, engineering, the global retail teams, video producers, image producers, the list goes on. Each group kind of speaks its own language, and the creative ops leader has to be the universal translator that gets them all moving in the same direction.
Okay, so we've talked about the skills. But where's the proof? Where have these skills been put to the test? Well, this is where you see the real-world impact, delivering for some of the biggest, most demanding brands on the entire planet.
We're talking about global giants like Apple, a company that basically defines innovation and design. Toyota, a massive force in the auto world with incredibly complex global campaigns.
HP, one of the foundational tech companies.
And Samsung, another leader in consumer electronics. I mean, these are companies where brand consistency and operational excellence, they aren't just suggestions. They are absolute non-negotiable requirements to even play the game. And to make this really concrete, think about this project for a second. Managing the perfectly accurate iPhone screens for the launch of Apple's emergency SOS and crash detection features. This is way beyond just marketing. This is creative work for life-saving technology. The stakes literally could not be higher, and every single pixel had to be absolutely perfect. And that really brings us right back to where we started, that core idea. On one side, you have that creative vision, the artistry, the big strategy. And on the other, you have operational excellence, the smooth execution, the perfectly tuned workflows. The real, true value of a creative operations leader is being that essential, rock-solid bridge that connects those two worlds. So it all kind of boils down to this one final thought. For any company out there that's trying to grow its creative output without letting quality slip, the real question isn't if they need that bridge between creativity and operations. The real question is, have they found the right person to actually build it?